E66, the episode that all the cool kids are calling pNaIdOdHy. And what I've done is I've taken the word Paddy and I've got that in lowercase, and then I've got the word Nioh, which is in uppercase, and I've kind of so you can see that Nioh's like hidden within Paddy. It's probably not going to work for the podcast name, but I'd like it to. But pNaIdOdHy, that's all I heard when I was coming home. I was like, what? And then I was listening really carefully, and all the kids were going like, Paddy's been playing Nioh.
I mean, I've tried to write that down because that's quite interesting, and I can't write it down in a way that looks hidden, so it must be very well hidden.
pNaIdOdHy.
pNaIdOdHy.
They were skipping with their little patent shoes and tiny ankle tucks, clipping like.
I'm getting flashbacks.
pNaIdOdHy.
I'm getting flashbacks. It Buxison.
like tiny meat ponies they were, so to speak.
What a lovely padcoft this is.
Yes, it is. We really are shy at smishing stuff together. So, the last episode, we had a bit of an about Nioh, my kind of early impressiones, and you've had a copy now. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sony, for going.
Thanks, Sony.
Going. Hey, you've had one of those. You can have one of those as well, and now talk about it. So.
We should once again, first things first. What, Nioh or Nioh?
What?
Because I've been calling it Nioh.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Nioh seems wrong. I want to call it Nioh.
Mind you,
even though there's not a H in the middle.
You say things like garage.
I say garage.
What? No, you normally put R's in things, extra R's in things.
No, that's a northern thing.
No, it's not. That's a southern thing.
No, there's no R in the word no.
You say things like dance.
Yeah, dance.
Dance.
For a lovely dance.
Dance.
Grass. Bath.
Do you see? No, bath. Do you say tooth or tooth?
Hey?
Do you say tooth or tooth?
Tooth.
Yeah, I say tooth as well.
Toothpaste.
Tooth is a bit further up north. I used to work with a lass that was from Hull, and one day she came in, she was like, "Oh no, I've left my marble fern at home." Which to our American listeners who have no idea what that was, oh no, I've just left my mobile phone at home is, oh no, I've just left my marble fern at home. I don't know.
Oh my god. Good terms.
We're losing listeners as we speak. So, Nioh has done really well.
The sales it's sold out in a lot of places, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they said that it had particularly high, surprisingly high sales in Japan, where I'm sure it was something like 76k or something in Japan. It had like a big burst over there.
That's like 3 million in yen, isn't it?
It's nice to see it doing all right, because I'm sure. Souls games do really well in Japan, but I don't know how well the Koei Tecmo stuff does, or what kind of marketing. I'd be interested to see what kind of marketing it got in Japan, to be fair, because we were discussing that Sony over here have been pretty exemplary with it, doing what they did with Bloodborne and just not spoiling anything, just kind of giving you those tasters to get you to pick it up. Obviously, consider this corrupt. But well corrupt. But yeah, dead impressed. Especially in comparison to that Dark Souls 3 marketing, which we all hated.
We did.
Yeah. So in the UK, it's gone in at number 2 behind the perpetual juggernaut that is Grand Theft Auto 5.
How's that still?
I think across the board,
it's special in game at the moment.
Yeah, across the board, it's sort of dropped to 25 quid.
Oh, there you go then.
So, but yeah, good to see. I don't know, it's not one of those things I would have said would have sort of smashed the top of the charts, but a lot of people have been thinking about it. And
I think the Souls comparisons have probably helped it, I would say, in that respect, because the Souls audience has only grown over the years, and it's become a whole substrata of its own. I think a lot of the Souls people, you say, it's a bit like Souls, and everyone goes, huh.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of folks that can have the opposite reaction to that, though.
Although the alpha and the beta and the doodly doodlies probably helped as well, didn't they?
I don't know. It's weird.
Give me a demo. That's what I say. Give me a demo.
It's one of those that in the same way as Bloodborne seemed like it was like a big prominent PS4 exclusive, and it was really the difference between the machines at that point, between the PS4 and the Xbox One, and the first sort of
yeah,
you know what I mean. It was the first sort of lean to a certain side where people went right, or certainly the people that we speak to.
Yeah.
Went,
I saw that comment. I saw that all the time. Like, which one's got Bloodborne? I'm buying that one.
But I think in this regard, with the PS4 Pro coming out before Christmas, and it having rather a lot of Pro features in it,
okay,
it's kind of been pushed to the forefront in that regard as well. That if you've got that machine,
wasn't aware of those. Okay,
yeah, I think it's.
Is it just like frame ratey stuff?
It's the same. It's the same stuff that's on the regular PS4, where you can choose between like movie mode or these. You know, there's those 3 modes that you can choose. I saw, from the start. Yeah. It basically just pretties up all of those.
Okay.
But good to see, because I think it's a nice looking game anyway. But I know, who was it? I was listening to 84 Place podcast, and they didn't think it was a good looking game. Which was they were really enjoying playing it, but it was weird when they were asked to put it with the Souls games in order. They all put it in pretty much last, but bizarrely enough, like Dark Souls 3 came out first with a few of them as well.
Really?
It's really interesting to see kind of opposite viewpoints like that, unless you are the internet, because all those Horizon Zero Dawn reviews have come out today, and like 99% of those reviews are astonishing. Eurogamer gave it sort of quite a mixed review, and those comments were peachy. But then I went on to US Gamer, which gave it 2.5 out of 5. That's a battleground, that is.
Ooh.
It's just the comment section's just... You're always going to bring in people who've never gone to that site ever for that, and it's just...
To add some colour, I was a moderator on Polygon during the Last of Us 7.5 debacle.
Oh God, I remember that.
That was... Oh boy, that was a week. Because people suck.
So yeah, fan reactions seem to be good, as we were saying. It seems to be... Souls fans in particular seem to be pretty chuffed. Those who weren't maybe as enamored with 3, even those that weren't really that keen on 2 have kind of seemed to be quite chirpy about this. About Nioh.
Well,
we're going to go into your thoughts in a minute. We're going to have a nice chat.
Yeah, and not hate each other by the end of it, because we're nice people.
Because the thing is, we didn't... I think it's easy to say by the intimation that you gave me on Twitter earlier that this is You're My Bloodborne.
This is You're My Blood... Yeah, hang on, I had to unpick that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And as such, it's going to be nice to have a conversation with you, see if I can maybe counter a few of those things. But I also know that in equal measure, there could be like 9 months down the line where you're like, I was born at home and I put EO back in. Jesus Christ!
Well, just to help you out, I've actually written notes for the first time in a long time.
Okay, well, I'm gonna quiz you with a few things regarding those notes. Those notes. Oh, that just brings me back. I've been listening to Your Mom's House podcast with Tom Segura, and basically he gets people sending in like dance remixes of things that they've discussed. And there's a song that I couldn't get out of my head all over Saturday. And the chorus of it just goes like, and it's really pristine English accent that goes over it. Imagine like an amazing sort of piece of dance music. It just goes, I shadow dance with my hands, finger my arse. Then it goes like, Bert is fat. Bert is fat. And that got me through like a 9-hour shift on Saturday. But anyway, so you've got Nioh. It's all booted up. It's sitting on your PlayStation 4 console.
I installed it. It is there.
What were your thoughts going into it? Kind of your preconceptions, not only just from the alpha, but from the kind of Chattanooga that we had.
Well, because I got into it, I got it installed a short time after our last little chat for the show, so I hadn't had it at that point. I was just, I was like, it sounded cool. If it turned up, it turned up. If not, I was happy to wait and pick it up later. I was not in a rush. I've got lots to play at the moment.
Shocking.
Return to Drangleic's coming around the corner, so there's a lot on at the moment. So I wasn't fussed. And then the lovely Sony, thank you, sent me a copy as well, so we could talk about it. Thus, so consider this a bit corrupt, but not really, as we will get to.
But as I said in the last episode, we were lucky enough to get Bloodborne stuff in that regard, and we weren't both all like, woo, 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 that I kind of...
It was 50%.
Yeah, it was a woo. But I didn't hate it. I'd fallen into Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin at that point, but it wasn't quite clicking. But we'll always be honest, so just underlining that.
Yes. So I was kind of excited to go in after seeing you so enthusiastic about it, because I know when you get enthusiastic about something, it means it's probably got something there. When you were saying it had the Demon's vibes to it, I was like, well, okay, all right. Like, it's a bit like a PS2 game. Oh, all right. That's in my wheelhouse. That's the things I like to play. I like PS2 games. I like them being a bit weird. I remembered you talking about Derek. I wanted to meet Derek. I wanted to bet on a Beef Boy hat. These sounded like things that were made for me.
Beef Boy hat. That's also a good title for the episode.
Beef Boy hat. So I booted up, pretty much downloaded it, and they do that thing where you can download some of it, like the first 12 gig, and then you can start the game, and then it'll download the rest of the other 25 gig while you're playing. And then you can just go. So rather than waiting for 40 damn gig to download, you can get in after a couple of hours.
The best I've ever seen that done was in Titanfall 2, where basically they downloaded like a practice level for you. So you could practice like jumping off walls and doing all the other stuff and getting faster and faster with it. And they got leaderboards with the people that were on your system as to how well they'd done it, and the game was installing in the background, and it was basically letting you get faster and better at the game before it arrived.
Nice.
That's belting. Please continue.
Nice. So I booted up. I knew what you were saying. Spoiler warning for the first 2 hours of the game, I guess. Let's just put that out there again.
We're going to go up to the lady boss, which I guess is vague enough.
The lady boss. So there's going to be words up to that point.
Yeah, a few levels in, basically.
You'll know when you've met the lady boss. That's not vague. So jumped in. I knew the first level was London. Booted up. It was kind of like, okay, I like the way the guy looks. I like that he's Irish. It looks a bit like Gerald.
Did you monkey with the gamma? Because it's very dark.
Didn't. No, my telly was coping quite nicely.
Because I think the second time that I played it was in the day, and even with the curtains drawn, I was like, what is that now?
I had problems with that later on in other levels, but at the start it was okay. I could see what I was doing. Picked up a sword pretty quick. Died on the first guy because I didn't pick the sword up.
Yeah, but the first guy you are fighting with the fists, aren't you?
I don't know. Are you supposed to? Because I'm sure I tried again and went and found a sword and went back and stabbed him. I think you're supposed to just run away from him.
I think there might be a room down the other end of the corridor that's got a sword in. But
I did that.
I certainly used fists and feet.
Yeah, well, he definitely beat me the first time. I was like, oh, cool, this kind of game. All right.
Yeah, he did me in. I think that's one of the toughest fights in that opening level. To be honest,
basically, yeah.
But it does give you an idea of the timing and the boinginess, I guess.
So I experimented and I ran through and I was picking stuff up and opening up little shortcuts here and there. I was playing the video game, picking up the various weapons and stuff you get. Quite like the spear at first go. Enjoyed the spear. Had a go with the axe. Quite like the axe as well. Didn't really like the swords. Didn't really like the twin swords because regular samurai swords I thought bit boring for me. I don't want to just go, I am samurai. I want to pick something a bit different. I want to be a spear guy or an axe guy this time. Made a vow as well to not put any shirts on. I don't know why I did this.
Not even that beautiful beefeater top.
Well, I put it on for a bit, and then I was like, nope, I'm taking this off. I'm a man. I want to look at this hunky torso for a while
with the beef boy hat.
With the beef hat and the torso.
That's just a really terrifying grunt into your home life.
Shirtless beef boy. That's basically how I sit around in my house.
Laura's like, it's cold, put a top on. You're like, I can't hear you. Just pulling your pie hat down over your ears.
And flexing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of enjoying it, running through, getting the hang of the fighting. Like, I don't think the stances really kind of kick in until a bit later. You can just get through. You're
not told about the stances on the opening level.
No, you're not. You just, here you are, do some attacks, block and dodge, enjoy.
I don't even know if you can do them, actually.
I don't know. I don't remember doing them. I don't know if you're allowed to or not, but I don't remember doing them anyway. So I got through, met some of those knights, managed to kill those as well with a little bit of work. That was probably the hardest fight in that first bit for me, I reckon. It was when there's two of those knights, the fully armoured up ones that come at you with axes.
You can lob a stone at them though, and if you run away, you can pretty much draw one out.
Not that clever.
Because one of them will turn back. I think at a certain point, if they'll run after you, then both will turn around. I think if you then kind of attack one of them, it will still start coming forward. You can draw them out once they've been separated.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I fought them by just running in circles and dodging and blocking and
spear.
Two at once. It was spear or axe at this point. I can't remember which, but
axe
whatever it was.
Damage, spear keeping them at distance.
Yeah, it was one or the other. I honestly can't remember at this point.
Because generally, when I'm shitting myself a bit, spear, especially when there's multiple people. When I think when I've kind of got my confidence a bit, I can then go with like an axe or a sword or a bit more in close and swooshy.
Yeah, swooshies sounds right. Yeah, I was doing the same sort of thing, switching to the axe when I felt I could get up in people's shit, and spearing when there was a lot of guys. Got through pretty easy on the first level, like the pre-tutorial, I suppose you'll call it, the London level. I did pretty well on it. Like I got through without too much work.
Did you find that sort of mid-bit between the stairs? Because I ended up like doing lots of running around thinking that I missed something.
Mid-bit between the stairs?
When you go right to the top, like before you go outside, when you go right to the top, there's kind of like a little bit of a drop-off, and I just felt that I'd kind of missed something. And
there's a
like
drop. You can do a drop attack somewhere.
Yeah,
is it there? So I'd already gone through and killed the guy, so I jumped off and there was no one to jump on.
I kind of did that, but I think the way forward is like halfway. It's an entrance like halfway down the staircase or something. Okay. And I didn't find that until like much later on. I was like,
I must have wandered through that without thinking then, because I don't remember getting stuck there at all. I like that when you pick up the souls off a guy or you search a guy, you get a little memory back from them, like, oh, maybe I should go down there. I'll be safe down there, and they're clearly not safe. I like those.
I know that EMB talked about that with regards to the storytelling not just being in the armor and the equipment, although that is there, which is something I didn't realize. But that kind of spoken stuff, I think it adds to it quite nicely.
Yeah.
And like peering in on the room with the people talking works really well as well.
Yeah. Oh yes, that was good. I enjoyed.
Although I didn't click on that they were in that room, so I was just like, where are they?
Magical voices in my brain.
I was like, are they nearby? Are they hiding?
So I got through and I met Derek, and that was just classic first boss. I'm a big guy with the smashy thing. I'm gonna hit you with the smashy thing, and you hit me when I miss. Like, okay, cool. I got this.
How did you handle Derek phase 1?
Yep, easy.
Yep, no problem.
Just move, hit.
Derek phase 2.
Easy, move, hit.
Agree.
Easy.
So
I did like summoning up my like magical stand power.
Okay.
To make my sword good. Or axe good. Where it teaches you how the magical glowy sword works.
Yeah.
Or axe.
Is that there?
Yeah.
That's your finishing move, isn't it?
Because you stabbed Eric in the tits with it.
Yeah, that's the kind of finisher. What did you think to the final moments there and the kind of the Metal Gear Solid-esque sort of villain that comes from the piece?
I liked him. I like him a lot. However, William, dumbass.
What?
So he has the fight with the magical guy, and he steals William's stand power away from him. He puts it in a crystal and takes it. It's like, no, that's the strong power. No. So he took it away, and he's like, no, don't take it away. That's the secret of the Amory. At this point, the plot is going over my head. I'm just enjoying the spectacle at this point.
Yeah, it is spectacle at this point.
And then he vanishes, and then a bunch of guys with guns appear. So William runs up, jumps onto the edge of the parapet, and just sort of stands there, and then gets shot in the back.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're better than that.
No, how many people were there? How many guns? William hadn't faced that. He'd been in a cell.
But he could stand that and just sort of hop down. He could have hopped down quickly.
No,
he just stood there and let himself get a shot in the back.
Oh, William.
It annoyed me. It was too easy.
It annoyed you.
It annoyed me. It was too easy. He didn't even try and look behind him at the people shooting. He just sort of jumped up and just
he was just shot.
He just stopped.
Yeah,
then he was shot. No, he stopped, and there was a good 2 seconds.
2 Derricks.
Double.
Derek DeVito.
And Derek Acora.
Derek Schwarzenegger. I don't know. And then he'd just seen his kind of spirit sort of taken away, and that big guy disappear. He's in shock.
But
people
he
with
is.
shotguns and behind it.
And then he goes, run, jump up on the edge, and then just what was I doing? What? It was good. If he hadn't had that 2-second gap, he'd have been shot immediately. I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
You've not lived.
It fucked me off.
Or died.
Fucked me off. He fell off and he landed in a puddle, and then something spoke to him, and then he wasn't in the puddle anymore. Puddle? Sea. Cutscene on a boat. Talking about boats getting lost. That's kind of fun.
I liked that whole cutscene where it filled you in on England's war with Spain and Queen Victoria not knowing what was going on, and the search for Amrita, and the boats being lost as the journey went on, and I thought it added a degree of drama.
Because they could have just said he went to Japan.
Yeah, I thought the pacing of it was great, and whoever's voicing William has got a certain amount of hushed gravitas in his voice, and I really like it. There's no kind of boominess about him. It's a beautiful Irish accent.
Beautiful. Let's not replicate.
Is that
beautiful?
Oh, Paddy.
Sorry, Irish listeners.
I apologise, Ireland. And the rest of the world.
So cutscene good, and then you appear on the sea front, and that's the level from the alpha that I played.
On the seafront.
Yeah, stood there with nothing.
On the seafront.
On the beach, the seafront, the beach, in the dark, in a dirty village with one house on fire.
Yeah.
It's all right. I did better than I did in the alpha, certainly. I think because I'd had that bit of chance to... No, wait, I'm skipping something. No, it says, do you want to play the tutorial? And I was like, yeah, all right.
The tutorial stuff's really good, I think.
The dojo. It's all right. It's a bit dry.
Yeah, but it's giving you the mechanics in London where you feel the game out, you get used to the combat in of itself. It shows you the things that you can do above and beyond that. I'd say, for me, bar kind of the knowing how to use the shotgun and the bow and arrow, most of the other stuff, I didn't go into stances for ages after that. I certainly wasn't rocking key pulses. And I think it's a good tutorial to give you that information, but it's certainly not necessary for that next level.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. I feel like they overstate this, the press square to do a normal attack. I've just got through the first level. I know this.
But how...
It overstated a couple of things.
How
I
else
don't know.
Would you have imparted that information after that before going into the next level without it feeling like you were in an hour-long Ubisoft tutorial going through the rest of that level.
Well, maybe like climb a tower.
Because you can.
Some...
yeah, that's the only thing that's missing. Just unlock a map of the landscape. But I think it does a good job of giving you the next step on from that, and then letting you do your own thing again in the story, rather than that next level seeming like you're going through the motions again. I think it's a nice pit stop.
It's all right. It's all right. I don't like that later on. We're skipping ahead a tiny bit here, but when you unlock the ability to go back to the dojo and do more training, it doesn't check off the things you've already done as done. So if you want to check them off your list, you've got to do them again.
Why have you gone back to the dojo?
Because there's when you kind of, again, skipping ahead, when you beat the first level and you kind of unlock the hub, you can go to the dojo and you can play different training. There's more than that.
Why? But considering
because it teaches there's like a ninjutsu one.
Okay.
That teaches you how to do ninjutsu, and I'm sure there'll be more as you go on. But it doesn't tick them off as you've already done these. Like, if you want to get them ticked off again, you have to play them again. And because I need that, and I have to kind of go through again, I was like, oh, this will be something different. And I went in and it's just the same. Like, I've done this. Why couldn't you remember that I did this?
I'd hope they patch that out, maybe. Although, I think there has to be a common ground of knowing that you've done stuff. If people have skipped the tutorial and then want to come back to it, run through all those things again.
It doesn't really matter. It's just a little minor annoyance. It's like, I did this.
I've not done that. I've not gone back to the dojo. So
those first two missions you don't need to do. The first two you've done. It's the ninjutsu ones where the real stuff starts.
Okay.
But you'll find that as you go. So yeah, first level of the game on the beach in the village. Running around stabbing the dude. It's kind of fun, you know. You're stabbing dudes. You get a feel for the combat. You learn about shortcuts. I summoned like a shitload of revenants to fight.
Yeah.
Learned very quickly that the ones with the two swords are the ones that are my the paper to my rock.
You see, with the revenants, I've often found as I've gone on further into the level that there's certain ones that I'll look at and I'll go, no, but I'll be looking at their level rather than kind of the gear that they've got. And like even tonight when I was like way further on in the game, I summoned someone that was level 12, which I was like way past, and they absolutely battered me because they were wearing like really heavy armor and I think they were swinging an axe, and they just came at me, and I was pretty confident that I was going to knock them off a cliff again. That just wasn't happening. They were just like pummeling forward through whatever I got and just hammering the balls at me.
Yeah, I can see that. That was that must be your sticking point. Yeah, the fast guys, the Kurogisama guys with the spinny chain, and the guys with the two swords. Those are the ones that fuck me up because I tend to be a big, heavy, slow guy, and they will always catch me. Sword guys and axe guys, I can deal with no problem.
Was it
generally
Kurosagama?
Chain thing.
Yeah, the chain guys. They're amazing. What a fantastic weapon that is to have in a game. Not one that I use, but earlier on today where I was kind of grabbed and pulled towards them, belter. That was in one of my Revenant fights that I had that, and I was like, oh,
my face.
It's a really neat weapon, and it has to be said there is a lot of scope weapon wise in this.
Yeah, like I like the. I mean, getting into like the weapon stuff, like, as you unlock, as you level up, and you get samurai points to spend on skills to make your weapons better. Like one of the first things I unlocked for the axe was the spin, where you hold triangle down and he kind of goes and spins around like 5 times.
Okay. Which
destroys your stamina, your ki gauge, but if you catch someone, they're basically fucked.
Okay.
That's kind of fun. There's other little moves you've got, like the spear. In low stance, I unlocked a move where you can kind of monkey flip over the back of someone, like you do in Batman Arkham games.
Okay, yeah.
You can hop over the back. I found the parry for mid-stance spear. So you can kind of just twist the spear and knock someone down to the ground, which is kind of fun. Quite hard to hit. The timing is definitely something you need to get better at and get better with. But I think I nailed it the first time and then couldn't do it again for like another 10 minutes.
So it's interesting that
boosh, fuck you.
I didn't realise samurai points were there until later. Like literally, I did them a few days ago, and and all of the stuff with...
How many did you have then?
A lot. A huge amount, my friend, because I've been like fighting loads of revenants and stuff. I got a lot. Let me tell you, a lot.
A lot.
But I'd not been even with them kind of engaged. I've not been using a massive amount of them, other than I've been using the ground shaker with the axe, where you can charge it up and you smash into the ground, and it will knock the stamina and out of the enemy and knock them off their feet if you do it properly. If not, you're a little bit bollocks yourself. But that's
the good ones to unlock that I've found that I've liked are the probably most pedestrian looking ones. Are the ones where you can key pulse while dodging.
You see
do you know what that means? It means that your dodge, if you time it right, is the key pulse. So you can go attack, dodge, and that does your key pulse.
You see, already we're going into territory that I find very, very interesting on this. That we're both doing this completely different ways, and in some ways more advanced than the other, and that's crisscrossing, and we're still playing the game. And which makes this conversation sort of pretty exciting, frankly, because I'm sort of learning a wee bit, and I have been a touch closeted, I guess, with this. But yeah, cool.
Well, so that's fun. I like the shortcuttiness of the level. I found the level itself a bit dry. A bit like, it's a village. I like the little stories that you get, or like the little one-sentence reviews, Jesus. The one-sentence comments.
5-star would get killed again.
2 out of 10, ordered wrong yokai, sent back.
Knife me in the face, bloody painful, customer service excellent.
Oh dear. This spear is actually a toy.
I like the way that the levels kind of twisted and turned around themselves, because I remember there was a bit we were discussing where you said you were set upon by 5 guys, and I knew it, not the fast food joint, although it is the right shape and size to make kind of a fast food joint from.
There's definitely some meat in that box as well.
I know you were approaching that head on, where there was like a couple of guys sort of ahead of you and then a few round corners and stuff, whereas I'd gone up the side entrance and I'd gone above and dropped down, where there was just one kind of around the corner from where I came in, so I was coming around from the left, and I could draw him out with a stone. That's the place I came from every other time. Yeah, because then you can go around the other side, because otherwise if you attract all of them, they don't all come towards you. Like, some will fuck off around the other side and they'll try and flank you, and I love that about it. Yeah, that's Spear Town, isn't it, really? I mean, with that spear, you're fucked at that point. It's hard. I'd agree with you, because that's the point where you just kind of like pokey pokey douche 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 douche, like jumping backwards. Yeah, and like it needs kind of the Benny Hill music at a certain point.
And slice and move, and slice and move, and slice and move. I found, getting to my first yokai, which is that one in that room, isn't it? Is the first proper yokai, right? What, the big lads? How did you get on with the crawly ones? Because I find that if I didn't use the spear, I found it quite difficult to kind of not only keep them at distance, but to be confident I could kind of take them down. They grab me a lot, and I don't know yet what I need to do to deal with them, because blocking doesn't work, and the dodge doesn't seem to work either. They seem to be able to grab me in the middle of an attack combo. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with them. You see, I'm doing all right. Because they poison me, and then I'm wasting antidotes, just getting myself clean again. You see, I'm doing... I'm not blocking at all in the game. At all. I'm like... I seem to be like total Bloodborne on this. I'm like, boingy, 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 boing. But... yeah, I kind of attack them with spears, and then when they kind of seem to be building up momentum to sort of falling forward to get ready to sort of jump, that's the point where I'll kind of boing around, and then often they'll be on the floor, and you've got that target, especially with a spear, where you can just kind of... good noise. Thanks. It's good. That felt right. That's all right with the spear, but I like it actually when I've got the axe and I'm using like the underside of the axe. It just feels brutal. Dwunk. See, I don't like the little guys annoy me a bit, but I'm getting the hang of them. I can beat them pretty quickly. It's just if they get that grab attack off, it's always going to hit me. I've not got the feel of that one yet. The big guys.
Talk to me about the fat lad.
They're not fun, are they? They're a bad boy.
They're very intimidating the first time that you meet them as well. I think because a lot of the rules that I learned with the main folks, which were see what they can do, see the extent of the combos that they can pull off, and then wait until kind of they're knackered or they've done like, you know, chop to the left, chop to the right, hit forward, flippy, smash down.
I've done my big move.
Yeah, that's where I'll try and nip in. Or, you know, you've got those sort of regular yokels that will run after you and then swing a sword, and it's
as opposed to regular yokai.
Yokels and yokai.
Yokai.
Yokels and yokai remind me of you. And I should at that point have learned that lesson with the big lads, but didn't. And I think at that point I was just like, stab, run. And I think at that point I should have really used the special guardian attack. But again, I was a bit frightened, a bit intimidated.
I forget it's there.
Mm-hmm. I don't now. I don't now, but at that point I was like, oh, Christ.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I started experimenting with stances more. I was using the low stance quite a lot on those guys, because when you're in low stance, you can dodge, uses less of your ki. And like you, I wasn't really blocking. I was kind of getting in, doing hits, and getting out.
Does blocking do any good when they hit?
Against those guys, not really.
Completely forgotten it's there throughout the entire game.
It's all right against regular dudes. If they hit you with like the obvious, I'm doing my big attack, like it will still drain your ki quite good, but it will work. Against the larger guys, it doesn't do an awful lot. You get hit with one bit, there's your stamina gone, there's the second hit, and we're on the floor.
Because you see, I hadn't used low stance until yesterday, when I'm sure Gadget Girl Kylie was saying that's the thing, that's the stance that she's most comfortable with. And I'd experimented a little bit with the upper stance, and I just felt that I was too elaborate, that I was leaving myself open too much, and the middle stance is kind of where I feel
I found high stance too slow, and as an axe person it's even slower. You know, so you've got to, like, your regular attack is pretty slow enough, I found. But yeah, I kind of switch between medium and low depending on what the situation needs, because medium's quite good, there's a lot you can do with it, it's quite flexible, whereas low's quick, but you can dodge around. So if you know you're needing to move a lot, I switch to quick and just kind of hop and skip and jump.
Do you find yourself using axe more than spear? Or
yeah, I think I'm definitely axe is the main one. Spear is my backup, I think.
See, I was quite lucky on this level that I got an axe that's got either healing properties or some sort of elemental. Yeah, whenever I swing it, there's an extra stat that kicks back, and at the point that I'm at now, it's still the most powerful weapon that I've got in the game. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And every now and again, you know, when you get new stuff and you're like, right, I'll go into my menu, I'll see what I've got. Still nothing that's got the extras on there or the boosts or whatever. It's mad, and I got it like crazy early.
Well, this is quite a good point, actually. I'm gonna segue a little bit about like the way you get loot in this game. I don't like it at all.
Tell me.
Okay. So the way you get loot in Nioh is it's not like you're picking up, here's the armor set like you would in a Souls game. You don't just find it in places. You get odd bits of armor drop and odd weapons drop as you go around. I do not like going through the menu, working out which bits I've got are the best each time. I flat hate it. Like, I don't have time. I don't have the patience to go through and look through like, I've just picked up 5 axes. Let's just go through the stats.
Yeah, but you can look on the side of, say you've got like, you know, Billy Big Ball's axe, and then you see like it's like a 66, and then you've got like Dad's Nad's axe, and that's like 65. You can look at that and just go, right, I'll scroll up and see what the highest number is that I've got on the corner. Then I can see what perks come on the different versions of it, and you can also do, I think, right to, and you can just look at both of them and compare them.
But that works okay for axes, because axes are the strongest weapon raw damage wise. When I'm looking for my spears, just flicking through looking at up arrows doesn't work, because that's better, it's another axe. Let's just go, that's another axe. You can't separate out the different kinds of weapon. I just want to look at my spears. Can you?
Yeah.
How? I've not found it.
No, you can't.
I was going to say, I know you do it on gear.
Yeah, you can do it on arrows. Sorry, bows and guns, can't you?
Yeah.
It would be nice if they did it that way. Because at first I wasn't getting extra spears dropping at all. I was getting everything but new spears. And it can be a ball ache to kind of go through the process of breaking stuff down. And I think at first I was probably a little more attentive than I am now. Generally, now I'm sticking to the weapons that I've got. I've kind of solidified into like axes and spears. And generally, if something's white or yellow, I'm just fucking it off straight away. There'll be certain things where I kind of wonder if the stats might be more appropriate further down the line. Like, say, some weapons might give, 19 life or something like that, or give like a little bit of a boost that way. But most of the time, I'm just keeping them as like a wee bit of a bank at times. And if I go to a save point and see that I need 8,000 Amrita to level up, and I've got 6, I'm like, right, break, right, I'm at that level, I'll fuck off. The thing that I've found with the armor is different, that now I'm getting different enemies that are with different elemental stats.
Poison and paralysis and that sort of thing.
Yeah, even things like fire and things like that. There are certain bits that I've naturally broken down because they're not what I want to wear, and now I'm looking at some of the stats of the armor and matching those up with like the charms and stuff. And I certainly found on the level that you ended up on, which we'll go to later, that really helped with the boss in a big way.
See, this is the thing. I don't know if I threw away something that I would need later, because I just tend to go look at the numbers. Armor particularly, pick the one with the biggest number and just sack the rest off. Usually that was my intent. That was my instinct.
You see, at this point, I'm kind of looking at stuff and realizing that familiarity with a weapon is a big thing in itself. But also, I'm getting certain weapons where they're say scaling with dexterity now, or they're given like a B+ with dexterity or familiarity on. I'm looking at the stats of the weapons and sort of trying to balance those out with, well, I might have a more powerful weapon number-wise, but it's not giving me this. Because I know some of them have got extra dash ability or run speed, or they can add extra to your life and stuff. So yeah, I'm a little more mindful on that, but that's not kind of it. I'm quite happy to stick where I am for the most part, and it's only on these later levels that I found where I'm picking up stuff where instantly I go, oh, because it's kind of color coded in a Destiny kind of way, where I'm going, oh, I'm sure I've just picked something up with purple, and then I'll see the thing in the corner and I'll go, that sounds fancy. That's generally it, because there was one piece of armor I got tonight, and it's too heavy for the sort of playstyle that I'm wearing, but it's like it's on a level with that beefy jumper. It's beautiful.
Well, here's the thing that I have with the gear, because a lot of it is randomized and a lot of it is loot drop based. I don't feel like I've got the attachment to it that I think, and I like, it's all, for me, like, nothing stands out on that menu. I look at it and nothing stands out. It's all just unusual armor, do. Youngblood armor, Sogarashi. Like, none
Pirate
of that
armor,
screams,
all that kind of stuff.
Look at me. Yeah, like, Beef Boy hat. Yeah, okay, Beef Boy hat. Beef Boy. I'm going to remember Beef Boy hat. I'm waggling my finger.
Did you see the stuff that I put up on Twitter earlier, like the outfit? No, it was last night, where I was like, when you're ready for battle, but also ready for bed, but maybe baking a cake.
Oh, that weird floppy chef hat.
Yeah. Which apparently has got like tactician's knowledge or something, which I don't know what that is. But that outfit is the one that is, much of it is really hidden around that level with Vampire Boss, but it all comes with paralysis resistance. So I was like, when I started putting 2 and 2 together, that was the point where I was frustrated with not beating the boss and getting absolutely smashed by the boss. And I was like, right, well, let's explore all of this and try and find the stuff where I'm looking, I'm going, well, how do I get to there? And that did help with the boss sort of quite a lot, and there's a lot of character in that outfit as well. But I agree with you, a lot of it can be kind of like straps and zips and not look that great. But
although I will give that it is cool that when you get to the blacksmith, you can make any weapon or any armor look like any other armor.
I've not really gotten into that yet, I must admit.
So you can take your unusual Mengu helm and just make it look like a beef hat.
Oh, right, okay.
You can make every hat in the game look like a beef hat. It costs you a little bit of money, but it's negligible.
Because when we spoke about this yesterday, I'd not been to the blacksmith.
Yeah.
Even after all this time, I'd not been, and I took like a
Have you been yet?
I took a cursory glance last night and was like a little bit overwhelmed, so I didn't really take in. I got the feeling that there was a bit of a Destiny thing going on, but I don't know. I didn't explore it because I just wanted to. I have
explored the blacksmith, and I'm also adding this to the list of things that I really, really think it just is too much there. There's so much there. You can buy gear, but none of it's as good as the stuff that I found. You can reforge gear that seems to just be take off stats. I don't see how to add stats onto it. You can craft gear, but you don't have the stuff to craft anything worthwhile. You can reforge and make it look cool. That's fine. But I don't know. It's like 18 menus, and I don't give a shit.
But it's not 18
It's so
menus,
much. It's lots.
It's not 18, is there?
There's functionally 18.
It's all right. We're amongst friends here.
There's like 7, but there's still lots. And I don't... As someone who just wants to have a good axe and go, like, I don't want to spend 20 minutes
take 2 axes into the shower.
All right, so here's why. I don't mind that in Destiny, because in Destiny usually you're running around with your friends talking about stuff as you go. Here I'm sitting there on my own looking at stats on 17 different axes. So which one do I want to keep? I don't care.
All of this diatribe is really an essay on loneliness.
It is. Everything's more fun when there's someone else there.
Please join us in the next episode.
Please. I can't. So yeah, I don't like the hub stuff. There's so much of it, and it does that thing where you will get lots of tutorials one after the other, and you remember nothing. I found so I went in and it's like, oh, you can do this and this and this and that and this and that and this and this and that, and it finished. You're like, what?
So let's boing back a bit then. You defeated the first big yokai. You've opened the door.
Yeah.
I
like the second half. So this is the second half of level. This is the villagey bit.
So you got into the village bit.
I like this bit.
Very twisty turny, and it's quite. I think it's quite intimidating when you're amongst the kind of little avenues between the huts and stuff, because it just feels very, very closeted.
Also, lots of yokai.
Yeah. What, the little guys or the big ones? The big ones mainly. I like that you can see where they are, but they're always in the way of where you need to go. Big lads on the roof, falling through holes in the roof. That's a favourite of mine.
That was funny. That did happen to me once. That was quite funny. And he got sort of bored and leave me alone.
You see, that's the point that I was saying in the last episode, where I tried to take on one of them like a few times, and I think I might have died or been severely injured. And then he dropped down that hole and he was walking around, and I just stood on top of the roof and just shot him in the face. And the more angry he got, the more I shot him in the face until he wasn't angry anymore because he was dead.
That's classic CJ move, though, isn't it?
That
is your signature move.
But I really like having kind of a musket type thing in there, and especially that when you're aiming, you can hear the gunpowder crackling. It's ace.
Yeah, it's cool. I did get smashed by the one on the roof quite a bit. I liked opening up the shortcuts. I liked kicking down a barrel of water to put a fire out so I could walk through. That was quite fun. That cut off quite a lot of the level. And kind of going around this bit was fun. Like, it's quite twisty-turny. It's quite well designed. Like, you're cutting each other off. You can see where you are at all points. You can see, like, at the very start of that level where the shrine is, you can see that it will curl back and there's a door on the other side. And when you do get to the point where you can see the other side of the door, you're like, oh, so there's that and there's that. Brilliant. I'm going to go there first and then there. It was smartly designed. Like, it looked good.
That was the point that I was on about in the last step as well, where I didn't know how to get to the second half of that second area, but I'd shot an arrow at somebody from distance, and I saw them run through that next bit, and I saw where I needed to go because they were making a beeline to twat me. That was ace.
Well, okay. I think I just waddled through and like, oh, here I am.
Better than me.
Yeah. So then I unlocked all the shortcuts and I had to go at the first proper boss, Onkiro. Onkiro?
Yeah, I call him Billy Boat Bollocks.
How did he get in that boat? He's bigger than the door.
He's a ghost. He's spilled some yokai juice on the ground.
Did they build the boat around him?
I did probably not. What, they could have brought him in on a plank, like a bit of sort of rogue spunk, and then just built a boat around him,
like a bit of rogue spunk.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to do religious texts.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How'd you get on with him? Because I first timed him.
I had more than that times.
What?
You're
really good at bosses.
No, I didn't do very well at first. I couldn't dodge his spinny attack. I was good at his big slam down. I'd dodge that every single time. But his spinny attack, because my instinct is to get in behind him. And
how
the
light was your armour at this point?
Huh?
Because maybe my armour was a touch lighter than yours.
My armour was good, but I had no shirt, so I was still able to move quite quickly.
Yeah, cool.
Because that keeps the weight down, so I'm still pretty well armoured, but I can still move. His big spinny thing would get me almost every time. Because I was getting frustrated, I was getting angry. I did it like 5 times, like, you know what, fuck this, and turned it off for the night.
Okay.
And then I went on the next day and first timed it. So
yeah,
with my axe, and I just sort of stood back, let him do his swing, and ran in when he wasn't swinging.
That's what I was doing. I was kind of nipping in for like odd bits, like a drive-by.
Yeah.
In the same way as Gary Dutton recommended doing Rom, the vacuous spider, just like running in, doing a drive-by and fucking off out.
Yeah. Although special credit to when his balls fall off and then he throws them at you.
I can't remember that.
Oh, his balls come off the chains and he picks them up and he just starts throwing them at you. And he'll run over to where they land, pick it up and throw it at you from a different position. Like, you fucker.
I think he's a really good boss.
He's alright,
really good boss. I think there's spectacle there, and I think it's a fun fight but it's an achievable fight. And I know some of my problems with like Bloodborne bosses felt like it was I was attacking a tornado, and this one I think is proper. There's a sense of the epic that's there without it being kind of throw your pad in the corner. No pun intended.
Well, I think I changed weapon. I was using the spear at first, and I used the axe for the time that did it, and I did it. So then I did that. That was kind of fun. And then kind of went to the main like menu, and we've talked about the infinite menus that you get given.
You see, from
I don't like them.
From this point, I did the submission.
I did level 1 again. Because I still wasn't quite feeling the combat. I thought, I'm going to go around and do this again. And I kind of pissed it this time. I got through in about 25 minutes. Like, I was Admittedly, my gear is better at this point. I knew where everything was, but
have you done the submission on this bit?
I've done the bandit one, yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that was quite nice. It was like a redress of the level in a really smart way, and the lads at the end did me in maybe about 4 or 5 times before I'm sure I figured out like maybe I'll try like my special move. I had one of those revelations where it's like, oh my god, why aren't you doing this? But I really enjoyed that rerun through. I thought it was great.
I'm gonna disagree. I did not enjoy the submission. I found it a bit Chalice dungeony.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that I didn't think there was a lot going on. It was just there's some enemies in the level, now go.
But you said before that you went through that level again to refamiliarize yourself with it. The submission is refamiliarizing yourself with it in of itself, but it gives you something different to play about with. It
is. I don't think it's because you run through the level backwards, essentially, don't you? You start at the beach and you work your way back through. I found the progression of unlocking doors and shortcuts more satisfying than just kill some men in a row.
Have you done the third one?
I've only done one of these.
The third one is an absolute beast. Throws something in that terrified me, that I only beat last night. And that was one of those late night revelations again, where I was like, why aren't you doing this? And part of my my counter to that was, because I have to get near them to do it. But the submissions change things up really well for me, because you've got the second one, which is the run to the bandits, and it is a little less pressured, I guess, than the regular one. Even though I had trouble with those guys at the end, the third one throws something brand new. Actually, 2 things brand new at you entirely, which freaked the hell out of me. And further on in the game as well, there's some really unusual kind of redresses of the levels and some quite quirky stuff that threw me even more out of my comfort zone. So I'm quite enjoying the submissions. Also, they're kicking out some fucking amazing gear. Really amazing gear. I'm only going through... I've just done the 3rd submission on the mountain level. The one that ends with the lady boss. And they've pretty much... most of it appears to be set within a third of that level. And yet it's just fucking brilliant. Way shitting it towards the end of it as well. It's like, hold on, where do I go? Oh, I can't go anywhere. Oh, you're throwing lots at me. Oh, okay. That was kind of the place that I died, but it was... I like removing the degree of grinding that you might get in a Souls game by giving you something else entirely based around a place that you visited. I think it feels curated to me. I like that.
Well, speaking of revisiting levels, I had to go at a Twilight mission as well.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Aren't they like hella...
It was level 15. I thought I could manage that.
Okay.
Because they change, don't they? They sort of like... It's like you go to the main menu and, this one's level 87 and this one's level 12. Like, well, I'll do the 12 one then, please.
I don't know. I've not really gone into those. So
Maybe I got lucky. Yeah, I honestly got the same feeling as the submissions. I didn't really like them. I didn't get
too bland or
too many big guys. It's just yokai all the way through. Just lots of yokai.
Okay.
And they
are
the
little ones or the big ones?
The big ones.
Okay.
The big ones. And I know that it's supposed to be hard. That's the point. But I was getting through my elixirs very quickly. And you get to a point where, well, I've run out now.
Yeah.
And I'm still halfway through the damn level, and there's no way of buying them mid-level, is there? You can't go to the shrine, you can't buy them at the shrine, you have to leave to the menu to buy more elixirs, right?
Yeah, I found similar frustrations with because I hadn't visited the blacksmith at this point either, where there's certain enemies that come with the third submission in that opening area, where I really could have done with more arrows or more kind of bullets and hadn't got them. But there's a certain, in that regard, there was a certain degree of, well, what are you going to do then? Which challenged me to kind of think beyond that soul's comfort level that I can get into, where I just launch a million arrows at something from distance.
Well, my what you're going to do then was die. That's what I did. Yeah. So I didn't really enjoy the Twilight mission either, and it's kind of at first glance like, oh, everything's red and it's dark and it's look at this, cool. It's all spooky. It's like, it's all spoopy.
Because I've not done any of those yet.
Wait till one that comes up at a reasonable level comes up and have a go. Because don't like this one was like level 15, so like I'm about that. Like I've spent plenty of time. I'm about that level. There's just too many yokai. There's your episode title. Too many yokai. So I kind of sacked that off, and I had to go at level 2 instead.
Yee.
This is where it all falls apart now. Because I know you get more enthusiastic. I go completely the other way. I fucking hated this.
If there was a theme park where I could use a spear to throw people off the side of the mountain, I'd go.
Okay, here's what happened when I tried that. They would block me, and I would fall off the side of the mountain.
Why? How?
And they can survive. They can survive the fall. I can't.
Right. That's
bollocks.
Let's rewind this. You've got your spear, yeah.
I've got my spear and my axe. I'm trying different things.
So you're going down. You drop down past the shrine. You get Clock Cat, which becomes Metal Gear Solid Cat.
Oh, so before, okay. So one good point from this level: that fucking cat has a stand.
Go on.
Anytime a ghost power comes out of anyone because of JoJo, you were
JoJoing, weren't you?
I was. It's like the cat's got a stand and it's awesome.
And the cat's great as well.
We've called it What's New Pussycat.
You see, I know Koei Tecmo are really good at like kicking out merchandise, but I'd like a plush of that cat and those little Doriyama green guys. I just think they're lovely.
I like the cat. I like What's New Pussycat. He's a cool guy. Side note, chatting to Fergzilla on Twitter the other day. So the 3 guys you pick at the start, you pick a god to do as your as your power. We've managed to name all 3 of them as JoJo stands. There is Wolf Mother, theme from Jaws because it's a song. Yeah. And Eagles of Death Metal. That's what they're called.
Well played.
And whenever I used my power, I would, in my head, be thinking, theme from Josu! As it comes out. That's not racist, is it?
I don't think so.
It's fine.
At Paddy Stardust on Twitter.
Come at me.
Carry on.
So
after you drop down after that shrine, there's the guy that's waiting just round the corner. That's
I was ready for him. I blocked him.
You blocked him?
Yeah, I was ready for him. I heard a noise and I instinctively hit the block button and he just kind of pinged off me. That was fine.
Because you see, if you creep up to him, you can get like the first stab. Then I kind of ran around the corner. So when he was coming towards me, I then went sprinky poke, and he went like, ah! And I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world. I'm going to find enemies that are 5 minutes away and drag them out to the side of that mountain.
See, I only had 50% luck with that, though, because I'd found where I was using my axe, I was kind of swinging big, and if they dodged, because they're quite good at dodging, I'd kind of overswing a bit. They were good at dodging me, I'll say that much. I'd overswing, and then just like, oh, there's the edge, I'm gone, and from full health, I am dead from a small fall, where they could survive the same fall. Didn't like that.
What?
Yeah. If I knock them off, they live, and they run back up, and they come and stab me again. No, it happened. I promise you. 3 times. I saw them. I saw the health bar go almost all the way down, and then see it move and see the health bar disappear into the mountain again.
If we've discovered anything, it's that people's hatred of gingers can survive large falls.
Well,
and beyond death.
Well, clearly,
I'm not ready.
I didn't like the caves much.
Why?
They were a bit boring to me.
Really?
It's just corridors and bigger bits, and then another corridor and some more bigger bits. Now, I will say, I do like the wall with the eyes. Big fan.
I found something out about that last night.
Big fan of that. Well, I heard about this, so I knew what was going on. So I gave it a little wave, and it fucked off.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what happened with me?
What did you do?
Because I know that Vader Van Odin has said that he'd found like the mimics in Nioh, or the equivalent of mimics, and that he did a gesture and that it giggled and he got loot. So I hadn't put two and two together that what the equivalent of the mimics is probably like this wall with eyes. So I then thought, when I saw it last night, I was like, oh, I wonder what happens when I gesture at it. So I bowed at it, and the eyes went red. And then I bowed again, and the wall snapped out of the wall. The whole fucking wall snapped out. I picked up some ground and threw it at me.
From a bow?
Huh?
From a bow?
Yeah, I bowed at the wall.
Right.
With the eyes. And the entire wall snapped out, broke away from the side, and started throwing things at me, and I had to go around the corner and was trying to like arrow it from distance and throw stuff at it. It essentially became like a little mini boss. It was fucked off that I bowed at it.
Right, because I think the way I've worked it out, the way it seems, is that I use one of the blue gestures, and it liked those. If you use the yellow ones in the middle, it kind of goes, and I think if you use the red ones, it tries to beat you up.
No,
that's how I've worked it out, but that might be wrong.
I think that there may well be different moods for different walls, and maybe this one just didn't like polite people, but got very angry with me. And
I definitely waved at the first one. I think I clapped at it, and it fucked off.
I didn't expect what happened. I kind of went, "Ooh!" But it was really great seeing a wall come out.
So I did like the wall. I'm a big fan of the wall. The wall he's good. He can stay. What I didn't like, as you start going into the caves proper, just how many freaking yokai are down there, and they respawn, whereas the ones before don't. Like when they're gone, they're gone. These ones respawn all the time, so they're big, chunky boys.
Yeah, but you know where they are, and
I know where they are.
You're big spear boy.
I am, but
you can do this.
You can't help taking a few hits on them because they're placed as such that it's quite easy to tag in another enemy at the same time. And when you're trying to do your key pulses and clear the spaces on the floor they've made that drain your key, I found that quite difficult to manage reliably.
Again, I wasn't Big Daddy key pulse at this point. I really wasn't. I'm sure I've only started focusing on my key pulse like these last few days.
Yeah. But I found the caves themselves quite nondescript.
Okay.
It's just tunnels and ladders and empty spaces, and they crisscross over each other quite a bit. But I wasn't enthused about exploring more. Like I knew that I was just going to come around a corner and it's going to be just another goddamn yokai. Like I wasn't excited about digging further. And I got to the big cavern at the end. Managed to somehow get my way to the save point because I was getting annoyed that I was going back quite far each time.
The shrine on the little bridge.
Yeah. Got my way there.
Kind of retrace my steps to. I saw that when I was on ground level. And I'm like, hold on.
How many times did you die from birds?
You mean bats?
Yeah, flappy things. It's dark. You can't really see.
I haven't.
I got knocked off the ledge once because I wasn't paying attention.
No, I haven't died from bats. Can we say how cool the spa is?
Oh, the little spa. You just sit down, take off your pants, and
yeah. But when you wander out, there's because you're still wet, you're still healing. It's still chucking healing stats at you. I thought that was way clever.
That was fun. That was cool.
I liked the thing a little bit further on as well, where when you attack something that's on fire, your weapon goes on fire, and you can inflict fire. That's beautiful.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's probably a.
I wonder why my wax was on fire earlier.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's one of those things where I kind of went, that's really smart. But I only knew it when I was running along with the spear that looked like some sort of flambe fork, and I was like, hold on, why is O?
So, like, it's fine fighting the guys in there. Like, I can do it. The fact they all come back, even the big boys, every time is a little bit of an, okay, fine. I need to work out how to avoid these guys then. And then you get to the lady boss. And...
Hold on a minute. Let's claw this back, because there's the Cyclops are just... They're cute as fuck. I like stabbing them in the eye. That reminds me a little bit of Dragon's Dogma. I liked fighting them a lot. And I don't know if this is the point where it introduces what I've referred to as the Teenage Mutant Amrita Turtle. Where there's like a giant Doriyama with a massive shell on the back, and the shell is covered in Amrita.
Oh, I think they're called Kappas.
Yeah, I like my version. Teenage Mutant Amrita Turtles. Amrita in a half shell. Turtle power.
I've just been calling it Frog Bastard.
But that works. But I enjoyed kind of chasing him around, although the second time he was a lot more feisty, I must admit. Yeah,
I kind of got the idea that he'd run around and either steal from you or wake everything up. Turns out he can do both. So yeah, that was fun. Inverted commas, fun. Big shout out to the regular yokai stood at the back of the room hucking firebombs across the entire cavern.
That's the first point. I didn't think I could get to him, but you can. If you go on the right hand side, there's a little sort of lead up that goes behind him, but there's also a chest. And on the second time that you go around there's a yokai that's hiding behind the chest. I was like, oh bollocks.
I got that first time I went around there. It was there. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I see. I'm dead now.
Bye.
We'll try that again, shall we?
So yeah, boss lady.
Boss lady. I think this boss is fucking bollocks. I hard quit out of the game last night. I PlayStation Home button outed of the game. I was getting so angry at it.
What was making you angry?
Right, so, okay, this kind of filters back to the whole loot thing, alright? So, obviously I worked out pretty quickly that she can paralyse you. Okay, I worked that out quite quick, and my first few runs were over quite quickly, shall we say. She dashes in, and you're on the back foot, and you just can't muster. So I think, okay, fine, right, I need to work out how to deal with paralysis. What have I got that can deal with that? And I've got, one hat that's got it on. Brilliant, all right.
Is that the archer's garb, isn't it?
I found the archer hat. I think I found the arms as well, but that was it. That was the only things I had that did. And I hadn't sold stuff for a while. That was the only stuff I had that did paralysis protection.
Okay, yeah. Like I say, the full set is hidden around the level.
Yeah. I think I feel like I explored it pretty thoroughly, but clearly I hadn't. I must have missed a couple of places because I felt like I'd been around that place lots. There's a
few drop-offs.
Oh, that might be it then.
Yeah.
I didn't hop off much. But anyway, I kind of put a couple of charms on that had it on as well. Spent ninjutsu points on paralysis powder that makes me more resistant to it. So one of my ninja powers one of the ninja powers you can get gives you like a pill that makes you resistant to it. I was like, okay, well that'll help, right?
Yeah, I think I ended up using that the last time, and I don't think I realised that I got it. But...
And I had about 15 anti-paralyzed needles on me. Over the next half an hour, ran all of those out.
Oh, I forgot I could use those for those. You're right.
Oh, I ran them all out. Turns out the amount of paralysis protection stuff I had on wasn't quite enough to reliably stop it all the time. So I was still getting hit with it. And the problem I think I've got with the boss is that she's so fast.
She is incredibly quick.
Relentless and fast. And once you've taken that first paralysis, you've then got to think, oh shit, right, cure that and then heal as well because you've also taken a hit for damage. So you've got
The thing is that there's a strange timing to when she kicks that paralysis out. That like she'll go like a and like you have to kind of jump. If there are two beats to her vocally, you have to jump after the second beat. Because I was jumping from the first one, like, I was expecting kind of it to launch then, but there's that little delay where I was kind of getting nobbled. And I wasn't doing particularly well either. And the 2 times I've fought her and beat her, I've had to bring other people in.
Yeah, I banged my head up against this boss maybe 15 times.
You know what we've said about Souls bosses in the past, that that they become easier when there's somebody else to confuse them.
Yeah.
So they don't know quite who they're going for. That's where I found that that boss was vulnerable. That if her attention turned to somebody else, I could kind of jump in and do shit. And when she came after me, obviously not always successfully, I was then trying to get out of the way and hoping that other person would jump in and pull her out of one of the attacks that she was going to throw onto me. So,
well, that's how I beat her in the end. That's how I did beat her, because I again, as well as my paralytic needs, I managed to run out of elixirs almost.
Did you solo her?
No, I couldn't. I was getting like furious to the point where like I need to get through this, or I'm going to put this off forever. So I had to summon, and I felt bad. I didn't want to summon because I felt like I should be able to do this. It's the second boss of the game. I should be able to manage this.
I didn't mind doing that. I think they've removed a lot of the, because you used to just from the start of level be able to explore it together. I think in the alpha and the beta, and they've now trimmed it back to one of you has to have finished the level to go in and be summoned by somebody to help them with it, which is kind of cool, I think.
But I still didn't feel good about beating it when I'd done it. I didn't feel like I'd accomplished anything. I just felt like, it's over. I'm done. I'm through. There was no happy feeling. It was just miserable resignation that I'd got through it. I'd kind of not cheesed or cheaped my way through it, because that's that's probably the wrong word. But I didn't feel like I'd done it the way that I would have wanted to have done it.
You didn't get the same level of satisfaction that you had out of the first boss.
Not at all. And I would rather have been like, I'd rather have soloed it, and I'd rather have felt that I would have been able to solo it. Like, I was doing everything I could think of, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get the timing of it, or the rhythm, or I couldn't get the hang of how fast she was. Like, she's so relentless, and she's the boss number 2. She's boss number 2, really.
Because I did that level again by mistake tonight. That I thought I was going into like another submission, and I either wasn't, or I thought I was going into something different than I actually was. And on this second time, I got it down to about a quarter health on my own, which I was quite chuffed about. So it is possible, but it's super high level. But I probably wouldn't put it too far away from the things that I don't like about, for me, like the worst of Souls and particularly Bloodborne bosses, where it feels like I'm being attacked by something that I just can't deal with. And I felt that, if anything, it was a kind of half step back from that. I felt like it was doable, but I wasn't good enough for it, and I probably wasn't ready for it at this point.
If I could liken it to anything, I'd probably say it was closer to like the bloody crow of Canehurst that you mean in the chapel where Amelia lives later on. Just a human-sized person that can just fuck you up.
I mean, I still think about things like Dark Souls 3, the Dancer. I never felt like I was fully in control of that fight, even though it was particularly slow, or there was that big electric dog thing in Bloodborne, which just felt like I just didn't know what I was doing. And this, like I say, this didn't feel as intimidating as those. I just felt that I wasn't good enough, or maybe it's a subconscious way of kind of getting people to go, Christ, I'm getting battered here. Oh, I can summon people. And just getting you used to like the summon mechanic. And I know that's me being kind of overtly kind, I think, but
yeah,
having gone back again and gotten her down to nearly quarter health on my own, I just think it maybe obviously like my gear is like a touch better now and stuff, but most of it is still the same stuff that I went in to that battle with originally, and I was just a little more familiar with what she was doing, but obviously somebody else in there, she's turning 2 different directions, and it's sort of 2 on 1. So
yeah, I don't know. I found that soloing it, I don't feel like I would be good. Like it, I know it's because it's the same sort of developing, but it's more like Ninja Gaiden in that respect, in that it's rough as fuck, and I feel like I don't.
What you mean like hard as hard?
Yeah, hard as hard. Like I don't feel like it gives you the ability to make a mistake. I think that's what Souls gets right, is that you can cock up a couple of times and you can marshal yourself and get back, because she's so fast and she's on you. Like if you get caught by one of her combos, you need to back up and heal, but she's so aggressive, she's on you all the time. I didn't feel like I could get back on top. So once I would taken that big hit, I was then I'm then on the back foot for the rest of the fight, and that's no way to fight someone like this. Backing up and healing where you can, and all I was doing was just walking backwards and chucking elixirs in my face.
You see, I whether this is a figment of my own imagination or not, I don't know, but I noticed that in the second fight that I had when I summoned somebody in, that because I had a paralysis charm, and I had the full set of the archer's gear, which had all got paralysis stuff, and I found that when she was doing the paralysis attack, that it was the second one that was freezing me, not the first one. And I remember previously the first one was freezing me and I was fucked. So maybe the clue in that is to make sure you've explored that level, got all of the stuff that would give you an advantage. That might be a figment of my imagination, but when I was playing it tonight, I was kind of like, I don't really remember being able to get away from or being resistant to like the first of those kind of
maybe that's it. I mean, I like you say about exploring the level, I don't feel like I missed anything. I know you said there are places you drop, but I don't feel like there's any paths I'd missed. So I was just at that point thinking, right, this is just hard.
There's one, where you actually come down to the bottom of the canyon. Is that before you get to the final level? There's a drop off on from there, which looks like you can't reach it, but you drop and you do land on this slight level with like a little piece of that armor that you can pick up. And then there's another one where when you come into the level, you've got like 2 pathways that you can go down. One's got like a yokai on the far side and like a skeletal warrior that's wandering down, and then the other kind of rafter like pathway has got one of the big fiery yokais down there. If you go onto that first one, there's a drop off from there onto like a big monument that's in the middle where you can pick up sort of another bit.
I got that. I got the hat. That's what the hat is. I got that.
Oh right, I got
yeah, that's the only one I think I did find.
I'm curious to know what all this tactician's knowledge is that's
fuck knows what that means.
That's added to that, because I've got a bit more of that stuff from doing submissions on that level. So yeah, that's curious.
Yeah,
and also on the third submission there, it starts bringing up the revenants to battle you automatically.
Yeah,
which is just fucking ace.
Oh, that happened. Yeah, I'm sure that happened on the Twilight mission. They just wake up and start going at you. So, good.
I wasn't ready for it, especially when it blocked me off in a room. It's like, no.
Yeah. So to draw my own like Nioh experiences to a close, like I think the more I've played it, the less I like it.
Keep going.
I don't want
to. Bring me in. We can do some stuff together.
Yeah, but there's something coming next week that's going to be more fun than that. Like I do not have
Switch.
after my I'm getting a Switch. I can't wait for that game where you bite the controller. Yeah, really good. Yeah, brilliant move.
Are you getting Horizon then?
No, I'm talking about the other things happening next week. A return of sorts.
Oh yeah, we'll deal with that in a bit.
That's what I mean.
I
do not. I don't have high expectations for the rest of the bosses if this is boss number 2. I am worried that they're going to go down the punishing path rather than the challenging path.
But how is that any different to Bloodborne?
Because I can do Bloodborne.
You see, now we've got our perfect bookend for this segment.
Bloodborne has
this is You're My Bloodborne.
Yeah, I can do that. I've got the verb set to deal with that. I don't have the verb set in this. It's too bitty.
You see, maybe in this regard, because I am a more naturally defensive player, maybe it's playing more into my mindset of kind of standing back, seeing what somebody can do, and reacting from there, than sort of, because you've always, even when we played Souls games together, you've always been the one that's like straight in there, and jabbing stuff up. So maybe that was part of my problem with not clicking with Bloodborne, and maybe that was your advantage with clicking with Bloodborne, because it played into your playstyle initially.
Possibly, yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to be then for the first half of the show. But please don't give up. Let's do some co-op. Let's do some stuff together, and see if we can progress this thing. Please.
Or otherwise, it's going to be more like Nioh.
Yeah, yeah. The next Twin Humanities is after E3. We realise what's coming, because well, in the next half of the show, then we will discuss Dark Souls 3 second DLC, the Ringed City, the return to Drangleic, which is coming on February the 25th. Some more Nioh stuff, a few bits that I've kicked in tonight news-wise, and I wanted to say a little bit about something else towards the end, but that will all be in part 2, which we'll see you very, very soon. Musical interlude, bye.
Play the music.
Hi, this is Paddy from Twin Humanities, here on behalf of That Thing You Like. The guys behind That Thing You Like want to let you know that you can buy that thing, and as a listener of Twin Humanities, they're going to do you a special deal. Just head to thatthingyoulik.com/twinhumanities to get a 10% discount, or 2 weeks free, or a 30-day trial, whichever is appropriate for that thing you like. Thanks for listening, and remember to purchase that thing you like, because you like it.
So, in the second half of the show, Dark Souls 3's second DLC, The Ringed City, had a greater look just after we did the last show. There's lots of a city turned on its side, falling down the side of buildings, knights with flaming eclipse. Now there's a band on their chest.
So might I be right in saying it looks a lot like the last levels? Because I haven't looked at anything of it yet. I sound like a right common person, don't I?
Not finished.
I haven't looked at any of it yet. What did you find out?
I was telling you, and you interrupted.
I'm just getting where I am.
So again, there's this kind of a city that's sort of spilling down the side of a mountainside. It seemed a little bit on the face of it like the start of the Old Hunters type stuff.
Okay.
Everything's kind of a bit twisty-turny, tippledy-toppledy.
Here's the world, and we melted it a bit for you.
Yeah, kind of. And you're just sort of falling off the side of buildings, further onto buildings, and sort of going further downwards.
Good description.
There are knights with sort of, the kind of burning sun around the moon, like hanging in the sky in the actual level.
Yeah.
Towards the end of Dark Souls 3, there's those sort of logos on their chest, and they do lots of hitty stuff. There's hands grabbing you where loot lay, kind of these sort of floating, spermy humanity ghosts. Did absolutely nothing for me. Nothing. Nothing. And I heard the folks from Easy Allies went in for a wee bit of a playthrough for it, and they were enthusiastic, but don't know.
Is that enough?
It just seems like Dark Souls on autopilot, which is Dark Souls 3 to me, and probably to you as well, seemed a bit too much Dark Souls on autopilot. And sweet fucking Christ, that last DLC was super Dark Souls on autopilot. And I think, particularly after playing Nioh and seeing my preconceptions of this kind of game challenged and new stuff there, and tweaks and quirks and things that I'm not expecting, I was just looking at this and it just did nothing for me.
All the bits I've seen of it just make it look like, sure, it's some more Dark Souls. And to be honest, we've had this conversation about the last DLC, haven't we? It's more Dark Souls. That's fine, but is that enough?
But I think running up to the last DLC, we were all like, "Oh, there's never really been bad From Software DLC. Everything's gonna be fine. It's probably gonna be great. It's gonna really tie up the game. It's gonna."
And to steal a line from Bonfireside Chat, Krusty's coming this time, guys. Krusty's gonna be here.
But everything that I see, like with the preview videos and how it leads into the lore and stuff, I'm just looking. I'm like, I don't care. I just like they've shrugged off so much of the previous lore, whilst I know being quite fanboyish with some of the look, it's a bit like Artorias, and I don't know. I want to be on board, and maybe there'll be a certain point, later down the line where I give Dark Souls 3 another chance, and I kind of all of this just seems all right after letting things die down. I might be going through what a lot of people went through with 2, but those folks seem to love what 3 was doing, so maybe
thing is, I've been through, you say that, but I've been through 3 probably 2.5 times now, sort of including the co-op bits that we've done in the past with various dudes. I don't see it clicking with me any more than it already has. I cannot see that clicking any further.
Maybe plain and simple, it's just not for me. Because I know from listening to the Easy Allies folks and 8-4 Play and a few places rate Dark Souls 3 as up there with Bloodborne and Dark Souls, or their favourite of the Dark Souls games. 8-4, there was somebody on there that said that they felt that Dark Souls 3 had perfected the formula, which I wouldn't agree with.
No, I disagree with that massively. For me, the touchstone I always come back to when I think about sequels, because for me, like, Souls 3 doesn't do enough to differentiate itself. Like, it's too similar. For me, the touch point has always been something like Metal Gear, where you can take Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2, and they are wildly different games. Like, they've got the basic core of sneak around and some cool stuff happens, but the way you do those things changes. Metal Gear 3 changed it again. Metal Gear 4 changes it again. Metal Gear 5, completely unrecognisable from Metal Gear 1 at this point, but it's still got that basic, that underlying framework to it that they've changed and they've adjusted and they've done stuff to it and they've adjusted. They've built upon it. I think if we'd have gone from a gameplay wise, and they were like, if we'd have gone Dark Souls 2, and then Bloodborne was Dark Souls 3, I would have approved of that. But with Dark Souls 3 doesn't take enough risks, I don't think, with its gameplay systems and with its thing. It's the same again.
I think it's worth saying as well that we've not seen the first game from Miyazaki's From Software yet, because this was still under the old guard, if you will. So
would you say that Miyazaki's not Miyabaki quite yet?
What?
Miyazaki's backy.
Okay then.
But then they bring a new game out and everyone says, "Oh, Miyazaki's back," and then it's not that great.
No, I just think that was an easy place for people to fall into. That, like, if Dark Souls 3 hadn't have been Miyazaki, if it had been somebody else entirely, I think there's a certain portion that would have just absolutely fucking pillared it in the same way as they did the second one. Speaking of which...
What?
Yeah, man.
Did Dark Souls 2 become relevant again?
It's always been relevant.
To anyone that isn't you?
In my head. Yeah, to anybody that isn't me. Yeah, so we were... Alicia Wall let us know that there is Return to Drangleic on February 25th. So create a new character and play through the game. Engage in co-op and PvP along the way as much as possible. Use the name engraved ring for co-op after the Last Giant. Choose Kreml, God of Struggle.
Now, I actually approve of that choice, because that is the choice that I was going to choose when we first did it, but you wouldn't let me.
No, because I wanted Kathy. because it sounds like caffeine.
God of struggle.
Nah, God of coffee. Leave a message that says, "Don't give up, skeleton. Calm down, Jeremy Greer. I named your podcast." Leave a message that says, "Don't give up, skeleton," by the Medulla Bonfire. Be generous with rating these messages. Play through at your own pace and your own pace. Yeah, do it. Play the game at your house. Play through at your own.
Play it somewhere else.
Suggested end date March the 11th. Shadow of. Try again. Scholar of the First Sin version recommended. All platforms welcome. So I'm really excited for this.
I'm really excited. I didn't participate in any of the other ones, like the Return to Lordrans. I was doing other stuff, but I'm well up for this. Like, imagine, right? Imagine playing Dark Souls 2 and all the covenants work because people are using them.
You sound like my kind of John Lennon.
Imagine blue summons.
I just think maybe it'll bring people to the fore who fancy being in on the event that dismissed Dark Souls 2, that might pick up Scholar now it's like super cheap, and find something else. I don't know whether I'm going to go PS4 on this or roll a new character and try and get past the 99% complete that sits on the Xbox One.
Yeah, think like you're going to.
I quite like the thought of us doing this, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm in for an evening of this, definitely.
An evening? This is a lifestyle choice.
Or 3. Thing is, as well, like where it's like, oh, do a bit of co-op. Like I quite fancy going in, bringing in like 3 dudes. You know, just
sorry, we're still talking about the game.
Quiet. Bringing in a couple of summons, you know, maybe like, because you can marry it to 3, can't you? Like, bring in 3 summons, have a jolly good time with it, and then be summoned 3 times, and then move on.
Thing is,
so get helped, and then help the same amount of people that helped me.
If everybody's leaving messages at the Medulla Bonfire, and having selected CJ named your podcast, it just means that everybody's going to constantly be getting like boosts on their health and stuff.
That's all thanks to you.
Is that right?
And we just drive by Jeremy again because this is great.
Because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're the worst, Jeremy. No, I think it's going to be great. I'm just really excited to see that many people involved, and it's just going to be bonkers. And you know, my heart's all over this game anyway. I love it to pieces. But I'm dead excited about this. Nice to see it
populated. Oh my god! Thing is, right, here's the thing that's the one thing stuck in my craw about this that I saw online, and I want to mention. I saw a couple of people when I was doing a bit of clicking around, sort of seeing what people were saying about this. Mentioning they were going to bring in their old characters, like their old PvP characters. No, that's counter to the spirit of the thing.
I agree.
Don't bring in your "I'ma fuck you up," the twink build stabathon dude with his optimized gear. No, start again and build that man.
You're not bringing your character in then. your stabathon.
My naked punch boy. I could do my naked punch boy back.
I'm gonna start again. I might
see. What kind of character do you want to play? What kind of thing are you going to build? Do you have an idea? Because I've got a couple of ideas I want to try.
No, I don't. I might build the character and spend like far too long in the character creation screen at some point this week. So on Saturday I'm ready to kind of start the game.
I was tempted by that actually. Just get the face made and then.
Although, isn't the spirit of the thing to actually start the game on Saturday?
True.
I'll have to debate that in my own head.
Because technically you've got to run through that first bit before you do that, and while you cannot be invaded at all in that bit, it's still part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm veering towards
Well, okay. How about you start the game, go in, and just hit that random button, and keep hitting that similar face button until you get something ridiculous.
I don't.
Have you played with similar face?
No, not really.
Oh my god, mate, similar face. So I was given an example how that worked via the Monster Factory YouTube series by the McElroys on Polygon, which is just good television. It's very, very good television. But there's a button on it called Similar Face. So you make your face up and then you just mash it and it gives you like 9 faces that are a bit different. And if you just keep wailing on the button like the face will morph and twist and shape out of all human form. It's beautiful.
Is that what
you can make some hideous, huh?
Is that what you're gonna do?
Hell yeah! I'm gonna hit that button 1,000 times and then press go.
Okay, I'll see what kind of mood I'm in. But I'm thinking like I'm in the mood to just kind of. I think get everything sorted on Saturday and just
go nuts.
Start fresh, yeah.
Yeah, but here's my idea. I think I wanna do a rapier guy because I've never done a rapier guy before.
Okay.
I've done spears, I've done big swords, I've done sword and shield. You know, I don't really fancy doing magic this time. I want to just get in and start just really having some funs. And I've never really experimented with rapiers, and I think I want to do that unless I can find a weapon that's more fun than that.
Okay.
Well, I've done my punch boy in the past. I'd like to bring back naked punch boy for some pantu punchu time.
Pantu punchu.
Pantu punchu. But yeah, I'm thinking definite stab time. I reckon what we should do. All right, I reckon what you do on like using the Twitter is like each night say, right, we're gonna have a go at this area tonight, and then we know that we're all going through at the same time.
Which
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that time zones and shifts and stuff might not be groovy on that front.
Because I can just see those people being at the Throne of Want by the 26th.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm excited about this. I think it's great. So thank you, Illusory Wall, very much indeed for letting us know.
I know we talked some sugar about
plugging the funk out of it as well.
I know we talked some sugar about the wall in Nioh that wakes up and talks to you if you applaud it. But Illusory Wall, you are my favourite wall. What bigger compliment could I give?
There's no more. No greater compliment. The amount of Valentine's cards I saw last week. You're my favourite wall. Am I your wonder wall? No. It's like that. It's like that Oasis song. You're my illusory wall, which didn't get released. I don't know what I'm talking about now. Listener thoughts on Nioh and the return to Drangleic.
Have you had some? Because I've had some.
Yeah. I'm going to start off with one from Cliff from the Dark Insight podcast. He said, I've not written in a while, so I thought I'd drop in with my Nioh thoughts, which have caused a bit of a stir lately. I initially really enjoyed it, and while it was still fairly slow-paced and there was not too much stuff to concentrate on other than enemy timings and stamina management, it then became very clear to me that there was far more things to worry about, and my fairly slow-thinking brain just couldn't keep up with the sheer speed of the combat and all the mechanics associated to battle. The game then began to feel very unbalanced and very punishing for a player of my skill level. And quicker than I'd started my journey, it had ended with Nioh. It's a damn shame, as I really like everything about it, but as Team Ninja like to do as they did with Ninja Gaiden before, they put a huge skill ceiling to be able to play, which I have always felt strongly about, as I feel every single person should be able to enjoy any game. But that is a debate no one seems to agree with me on. So to all of you that are enjoying it, I'm happy for you, but also jealous at the same time. Much love, Cliff. Brackets, I'm off to play Dark Souls 3. So I found Dark Souls 3 harder than I'm finding Nioh. But again,
really?
Maybe that's maybe that's again down to my playstyle and stuff. Don't know.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it sounds like I'm having a similar, maybe not quite as extreme, but I'm having a similar reaction as Cliff, I would say. So I totally get them feels, and in another level's time, I might be in the same place. Who knows?
So I'll carry on. Fugazi, JJF420 on Twitter, says, got Nioh and loving it, about 60% finished.
What?
With it now. But
did
really
it come out yesterday?
It seems like it, doesn't it? But really cannot wait to return to Drangleic. Hope to see you there. Our friend Shinobi of the Cosmos emailed or DM'd you.
He did.
Have you got it to hand, or would you like me to carry on?
No, I've got it. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay.
Do it now.
From Shinobi the Cosmos at Darth Shinobi on Twitter. This was quite a long one. I played the alpha to Nioh and hated it. Lost all interest in it really then until I've seen a gameplay video of later levels and knew it had something about it. Then the Last Chance beta came and I decided to give it another go and clicked with it big style. While initially frustrating how one or two peasants can murder you so easily, once you get the knack of movement, you slice through them like the dirty peasants they are. I loved it so much that I even beat the Ogress boss. I don't know what that means, but okay.
I was absolutely on board from day one with the digital special edition. There's been talks of the game's balance, mainly by one fella, cough, Cliff, cough. That's in there. But it really is a fair game. Brutally punishing at times, but you can always overcome it with patience. And to me, what feels like mastery. I'm now in the 4th region on the map and loving it. Some bosses seem impossible, but they really aren't after repeated attempts. You learn their movements and read them like a book. There's a real finesse and timing to the fights, which when understood is damn brilliant. See, I'm just going to break from the comment there. I've not got to that point yet. So
see, that's for me where I'd say the similarities with Bloodborne are for me. That there's a certain dance to it, and it's a different kind of understanding, but there's still that kind of bounce.
I'm doing a waltz. I'm doing a waltz, but it wants a cha-cha.
That might be it.
Shinobi continues. The co-op is fantastic, especially if you want to be a sunbro and help out players with bosses and tricky areas. Interesting. Might have a go at that later. I may come back to Scholar if I can pull myself away from Nioh. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I know CJ is. Sorry this is rambling on. It isn't. Long live ninjas and funny costumes.
Rather than being back to Shinobi, shouldn't it be the return of Shinobi? Thank you very much.
Oh dear.
Sega.
Oh fuck. Podcast over.
Hansford, at Hansford on Twitter said, I tried streaming to YouTube and it kind of works. I guess I could return to Drangleic while experimenting with that stuff. Damn right you can.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
I would watch some of that. That's Hansford, formerly known as Shub Hansarath, if I'm not mistaken.
And Name My Podcast I'm Desperate said, hello twins.
I wasn't ready.
Sorry, you shouted all this as well, and I'm not going to shout it. Take caps lock off, you. Hello twins. I just bought Nioh. What do I, a Dark Souls fan, need to Nioh? Brackets, just joking. You spell it KNOW.
I mean, I don't know what he's trying to say there.
Fine line between entertaining and day release, and not.
I would say that was
the podcast.
Yeah, probably the worst bit of feedback we've had.
The worst.
Drive by. Meow.
German sausage.
I've got two more.
McDonald replied to that.
Oh.
Need to know you're a monster, Greer. See, it's not just us.
Yeah, everyone knows it. I've got one. I've got one here from Sentinaut Plus on Twitter, who the other day I've dubbed the Regent of Retweets. Always the first to retweet a new thing, so thanks for that. Got words for Nioh. Totally digging the game, having a riot, banging my shins against some of the boss fights. I've spent a good 4 to 5 hours easy in the various co-op modes. We need a Sunbro equivalent in game terms, as visiting just doesn't have that same ring to it. Yeah. I can see where people are hitting walls, and I think that FromSoft Junkie, which is Stephen Veilleux, hits it on the head, saying the game is more punishing than purely difficult. Our fine Irish protagonist can dish out the damage, but like his Witcher friend Geralt, seems to take critical damage from stubbing a toe. That's really good. That aside, it's a riot rescuing the Kodama and gesturing up a storm. From the most recent trophy, I've gathered 40 emotes and heartily abused them at leisure. 40 emotes!
Well played.
Jesus. As to the return to Drangleic, I'm all in. Scholar is loaded and waiting. Maybe I'll run into you fine gents or others of this great community in some forgotten corner, huddled near the warmth of the fire, or a misty gate.
Cool.
We're all in, man.
I agree that it does need to be like a name for it. Because don't you raise like a cup of sake or something to
Is it
to bring
Onkiro cup?
Yeah, so I'll say cup of sake because if you're taking away the correct pronunciation, it can be like sake, like as in like fuck's sake, I can't beat this boss. So I need a sake, mate.
Cup of sake.
Yeah, I need a sake, mate. Sake.
Sake.
Yeah, I think that'll do. So
I got one more.
Yeah, but I'm going to go for some more of these.
Oh,
it can be a little bit of me, a little bit of you.
I thought you were done.
Together.
I thought you were done.
I
thought you were done. We've each written our own notes separately and are throwing them at each other live.
Stanshall underscore Stanshall on Twitter said Nioh nailed the much requested Tenchu Souls. Which other context would be best adapted to the Souls format, lads? Ooh, an interesting question.
Shit, I don't know.
Well, didn't you a while ago sort of mention kind of Bloodborne, but the Wild West? I've seen that mentioned
I'd play
before,
that.
like a kind of Clockwork Guns-ish Wild West kind of.
Well,
yeah,
like
that'd be great.
I picked up a while ago. A while ago I bought a D&D like RPG thing called Time Watch. Well, the company that do that, the same guy was involved in one called Owl Hoot Trail. And Owl Hoot Trail basically is like D&D with goblins and stuff, but in the Wild West.
Okay.
So you can be like a dwarf miner, or you can be like an elven like shopkeep in the Wild West. Excuse me, that was a burp. I like that. I think that works. I think that kind of setting applied back to like a Bloodborne could be really cool.
Well, I remember years ago reading an article about The Crow, and that James Barr had a pitch that was turned down for the sequel, where he wanted to make it a western about somebody that was wronged in the Wild West, and it's sort of taking generation of those families through into the modern day, where revenge would be enacted, and it was going to be sort of part, dark noir, modern day towards the end, but also a little bit Unforgiven in the Wild West, and he got that turned down, and the film company could pretty much do what they wanted with the sequels, and he wasn't seeing much money with it. But I always really like that thought. I think that's kind of cool.
I've been into that, and I've proven that everything is better when you make it into a western. Because I just finished reading Arc 7 of JoJo, which is about a horse race across America in the late 1800s.
See, that sounds good. I'd also like something that was maybe set underwater, and yeah, you could instantly go, oh, isn't that like Rapture? But I loved Rapture anyway.
Bioborn.
But I'd like, Borno Shock.
Bioborn just sounds like that oil you get to make your that go away.
I don't know. But something that was maybe a little bit more like The Abyss, but with massive kind of Ray Harryhausen type sea monsters and submarines that were a little bit like the Nautilus from 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or something with that kind of old sort of Clockwork design, but mixed in with sort of a few more Harryhausenisms and maybe some mental stuff that like Bloodborne, and I'd kind of dig that. But
I'd like an Egypt. I think an Egypty styled Souls game could be fun.
Yeah, but you've got Assassin's Creed coming in that regard, so that's gonna.
Yeah, but no, don't. Are you saying Assassin's Creed is like Souls? Because I think you just committed a sin right there.
But no, I'm saying that
a big sin.
The connecting there is Egypt.
Yeah.
There we go. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Plus
but Bloodborne isn't the Order 1886, is it?
No, but it.
Well,
walk away.
No.
All right.
Imagine fighting big fuck off Anubises.
Stanshall also says, also I'm staggered. This is mechanically so much richer than any Souls game. It's an absolute marvel. It doesn't have the vital sense of weight, which makes Souls combat so satisfying, but it's got systems on systems, so many options. I agree with that. I like the combat. It's my favourite combat since Demon Souls, because it feels weighty and strategic. And then finally, Pete Lawson at Mr. Worry said, I'm trying to resist buying Nioh, brackets too many games this month. I'll be back in Drangleic with bells on.
Ooh.
Look for the bellman, for he
Lovely
is
bells.
Wise and learned. You got another one, yeah?
I got one more. My final one is from Dark J at Playful Wolf on Twitter.
Janos.
Good play, Janos. Super pumped about Return to Drangleic. I just started watching the Dark Souls 2 side quest episodes of Dan from Extra Credits and Extra Play, and his excitement to be diving into Scholar had me well on the way to wanting to return. Then the tweets from Illusory showed up, and the question was no longer, shall I return? And became, going back, but can I wait?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Dark Souls 2 has such a special, warm place in my heart. I am so looking forward to rediscovering that Sunset Sea coast. Stoked. 3 exclamation marks.
Superb.
That's quite stoked.
Yeah. Good lad.
I'm into it. I'm into it. Yeah, I'm really excited for Drangleic, man. I'm really fucking chuffed for it.
Can we wait? So I'm going to be retweeting that little picture with the rules and what's going on that Illusory set up.
Make a new character. Make a new character. Don't be lame.
All of that stuff. So moving on. More Nioh stuff. The guide is due late April from Future Press.
Okay. Are they good or bad?
Future are the folks that Epic Name Bro did stuff for. With the
cool. So they're the good ones.
Guide. Yeah. Also, good. I mean, in that regard, Horizon Zero Dawn is out at the end of the week, and the guide has been done by a German spy who worked on those guides with Epic Name Bro, and RB Frosty is another big Souls dude. So that's good. The Future Press make the good guides, basically.
Can't remember the last time I bought a guide. I can remember the last time I bought a guide. I bought a guide today. Fuck. I've just done myself. I found a Metal Gear Solid 1 guide in a charity shop today.
Cool.
I was like, fuck, that's any amount, I will pay it. So yeah, I guess people do buy guides, fine, shut me up. So
the guide is coming late April, which I think is kind of cool. Because on the one hand, on 8.4 Play, they were saying that in the olden days in Japan, the guides wouldn't come out until like a year or so after the game had been out. So people could discover all the little bits and bobs, and they could revisit, and it would open up to beyond the conversations that people were having naturally. So the guide coming out late April means that it's going to be covering the game and all the DLC as well. Okay. So yeah, it's just interesting to see a guide delay and let players discover stuff.
The thing is, in this age of the internet, I don't know how much will be in the guide that won't be known, but the guide is still a cool thing to have.
Yeah,
like a physical thing you can just flick through rather than trying to scroll down an infinite Word document.
I think in this regard as well, where there are so many systems on systems, and for some folks will get on with that and some folks won't. It's nice to have it there, but I just like the fact that it's coming much later. I'd like to see this with more guides, to be honest. Like people sort of fly or fall from the off, and then a few months down the line, not only have something that's complete, but let people speculate and have fun and guess and have conversations before that. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So continuing with Nioh, the first DLC was cited tonight from DualShockers.
Okay.
The DLC is entitled Dragon of the North in the West, and the Dragon of Tohoku. There's going to be
I'm confused already.
There's going to be loads of mispronunciations here, so please forgive me, folks who know exactly what this stuff is properly. So the DLC is entitled Dragon of the North in the West and the Dragon of Toku in Japan, and this immediately points to either Date Masamune, who was nicknamed Dokuganru, which translates as One-Eyed Dragon. The Tohoku region is also the location of Masamune's domains, including the city of Sendai, which he founded in 1600. That is one of the turning points of the history of Masamune's power, and 1600 is also the central year of Nioh's story. According to the DLC's description, William will travel to Japan's northern provinces, which will bring him likely to Sendai. The presence of Date Masamune himself is confirmed by the DLC's key art that was showcased during the live stream. The character you see there is most certainly Masamune, with his iconic armour and helmet being a crescent moon-shaped Maydate, the crest affixed on the front of the Kabuto. For Nioh, he gained an appropriate Dragon Guardian spirit. He and William will most likely find themselves on the same side, considering that he was a loyal ally to the Tokugawa Ieyasu. That said, there's certainly room for possible intrigue, as Ieyasu was known to be wary and suspicious of Masamune's power and of the respect he commanded both amongst his subjects and his enemies. The DLC will be available late April, followed by 2 more episodes. That sounds really good.
Where did you find that?
That was on DualShockers just literally about an hour before the podcast.
Oh shit! Cool.
So that sounds really neat.
I'm looking forward to more words that we can't say.
Yeah, there's lots of pronunciations there. I feel like Melissa McCarthy's Sean Spicer sketch where he's running through like the visit of the Japanese Prime Minister and his wife, and he looks at the wife's name. She was like, "Let's just call her Candice," whatever it was. But that's
Date Malteser.
The season pass is already on PlayStation Store for $19.99. And covers 3 different portions of DLC as well. But that sounds really neat. It just sounds like it's got substance to it, and it sounds a little bit different. I like that. I like it very much indeed.
Sounds really good. Do you want to find out how Sean Spicer would say that name?
I don't know.
I've got a generator.
If you've not seen the Melissa McCarthy sketches, they are absolutely superb.
Okay, so there's a website on the Sydney Morning Herald that has a thing you can put in a name, and it tells you how Sean Spicer would say it. So Dut Mazamoon would be Dowd Mazaru.
There we go.
There you go. That's easy to say.
So finally for the episode, I'm going to give sort of a little nudge and a wink for another cover version, kind of. And the winner of 2017's game that Paddy loves the look out of multiple E3s but doesn't end up buying. For Honor is out.
Oh yeah.
So I say cover version because lots of Souls PvP folks appear to have graduated towards the multiplayer. I can see why it's a fit. Certainly a slower, more strategic affair, but it is great to watch. But there is a huge difference between the base level stuff, which appears to be folks just hitting each other, but the high level is all about feints and mind games, and goes a world more Ronin and Samurai than the.
Well, the only videos I've seen of it seem to be that middle game, which is knocking people off of ledges or into fires.
There is that. I've found that the people that, because I've been watching True Talent streams. I've put up a few links on Twitter as well. He's a top lad, superb streams, and the combat's amazing to watch. He goes through like game labs and stuff. Talks to the audience who sort of give him like tips on things that he can do and that he can't do, and likewise learning back. He's a fighting game fellow by trade. Taught me loads about Dark Souls PvP. And his For Honor stuff is amazing, but it is night and day between that and even stuff I've seen on gaming sites where they put up like streams and like playthroughs and stuff. It's completely different. And when you're just seeing people lumping into each other on the regular stuff, and then you're seeing like feints and guesses and second guesses, and it's completely different, the high level stuff. But yeah, so there seem to be quite a few folks Souls-wise sort of playing that, but True Talent's streams, like I say, are absolute belters. Not a game I'm going to buy, not a game that I'd particularly enjoy playing or be good at, but I do get quite fascinated by good fighting game tournaments like Evo and stuff. I got really drawn into watching. True stuff on Mortal Kombat was great. Like I say, his Dark Souls 2 stuff was absolutely superb. He was the guy that was like, well, why use a shield when you can use a rapier in your offhand, because defensively you're going to stop somebody with something that's aggressive, and came up with all these amazing different builds for Dark Souls 2. And like I say, his For Honor stuff is absolutely superb. Really good to watch. But the high level stuff where people are kind of seem to be going into something, then pulling away from it, then trying to go into something else, and the way that you're trying to second guess your enemies and stuff is really neat. So I think a few folks might like that. Plus the blokes here, I think something like over 2,000 subs now, and he's got 100. He's been putting his stuff up on YouTube, and he's got 100,000 subscribers now on YouTube as well.
Bloody hell!
And it's. I saw his stuff go through the roof with his Mortal Kombat X stuff, but he seems to be putting out the best For Honor content, and folks who like the game seem to be graduating towards the stuff that he's doing. So he's been saying on YouTube he's been having like sort of 2,000 subscriptions, like 2,000 subs a day and stuff at the minute. It's been crazy, but he's a good lad. I like him a lot, and the streams are absolute belters. So throw him some love and support, please. Join the Trumunity. And that's the end of the episode. So good old natter. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the episode holds together. Because it'll
be fine.
We struggled a little bit last time, but we have a backup running this time, so at least we can put out something that's maybe not quite as crisp if the regular way doesn't work. But
our words will be on it nonetheless.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining in with stuff. We'll see you next time, and on the return to Drangleic from Saturday-ish.
We'll see you in Medular.
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 Bye.
Farewell.